Good evening, mid-afternoon Wrestle Talk Show fans. I again am your host, Joshua Zimmerman, here for another edition of Wrestle Talk Show, where we keep you up to date on the latest and greatest wrestling news, bits, rumors, lies, myths, anything you can think of wrestling, it's what we cover. Again, I'm Joshua Zimmerman, your host and Pennsylvania State Wrestling promoter since 1999. 2005 rather, I apologize. First and foremost, we want to thank our YouTube following, Facebook and Twitter following as well as the general traffic to the website. We greatly appreciate it. We hope that it continues and grows. As of last check, our female demographic was 15%. Our male demo was 85%. So again, we want to thank those additional female wrestling fans that join the group, join the vidcast, and enjoy what I put out every other day or so. First and foremost, I don't know if we covered this in the last video, but let's get right into ratings. Impact for 10/25 scored a 1.1. Reaction, surprisingly, scored a .8. That's the show that comes right on after that. And that's about it for your ratings right now. Related to ratings, pay-per-view buys are showing that the decline is not a myth. Less and less people are paying the $49.99 to see virtually the same thing they can see on TV if they wait 24 hours. As Night of Champions estimated buys came in a couple days ago at just at 169,000 buys for Night of Champions. If you remember, we were talking about how that wouldn't get much hype. But on to important news, bits, and rumors now. First and foremost, and most importantly, and the one I'm happy about, Linda Mcmahon loses Connecticut Senate race by 8 to 9 points. Regardless of the point ratio, she lost, which we all seen coming. There's a rumor that in a couple years she'll try again against Joe Lieberman, I believe. That's what they're putting out there. I could be wrong. Yeah, she'll race against Lieberman in a couple years once they get their act together on this one. Linda McMahon spent an estimated $40 million of the estimated $50 million that she promised to spend. So she almost got there, but she lost before she could spend another $10 million of WWE money, by the way. Moving on. WWE re-signs Val Venus. Now, considering they're PG, I doubt that Val Venus will be portrayed as the same character he was in the past. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what his entrance video is to fully determine that. 11/29, WWE announces that the 3-hour Raw will also be the King of the Ring tournament. That's where some of the qualifiers will know whether or not they're going to the King of the Ring. That's one of their major pay-per-views outside of the Rumble and WrestleMania. So we'll see what happens. If you remember, before William Regal violated the wellness policy, he built great hype after winning the King of the Ring a couple years back. And on that note, speaking of William Regal, he just signed a 3-year extension to his contract, which makes me think, anybody can guess that he'll be around for a while. Whether or not they do anything with him is a different story. It seems since he violated that wellness policy, they kind of killed his hype, and he's more or less a jobber now, and he talks every now and again, etc., etc. On to more happy news, Jeff Hardy and his wife recently had a baby girl. Um, Taking back what we said a couple videos earlier, or last video, Spike TV will continue to carry reaction despite the .6s and .5s and the highest, as I just announced, .8 viewership rating. I just don't see a point in it. It'd be one thing if you were waiting a day or two, but there's no real reaction if you're doing it based on the live impact that happened 5 minutes ago. Especially when you, like I said yesterday, you take your main events, you think it's going to force the crowd to watch it to see the outcome of the main event, but either they shut it off entirely because they know they're not going to get a conclusion, or TNA just doesn't deliver on the finish on reaction. So it's a little bit of both. Tribute to WWE plans to carry WWE TV network will be delayed till 2012 at this point. Something tells me it'll be delayed a little longer with everything else they got going on and everything else they need to manage. So we'll see what happens there. If it's anything like WWE Classics, I'm actually getting ready to cancel my subscription via Xfinity. Because there's really, I mean, they have hit or misses. They have a couple matches that there's nothing else for the nights that there is no wrestling TV. It's alright to throw on and, you know, watch old school matches, but I don't know, not to take it personally. I follow wrestling, don't get me wrong, but Family Guy, King of the Hill, American Dad, those, I'm more oriented in those shows rather than this blast from the past ECW and the Monday Night Wars stuff. I think we're way past that. I think it's time to start formulating wrestling for the fans again now that this election's over. But in regards to the question I proposed yesterday to the fans, do you think that now that the race is over, they'll start pushing the envelope again? I don't think so, because one of the, and I almost want to confirm this, because what they based her losing on and what I read when the results came out yesterday, formally, is that Blumenthal used against her all the bad practices in WWE, the steroid abuse, the drug abuse, and the raunchy television. So she continues down this path, or if the company rather continues down this path, when she runs against whoever a couple years from now, I can't imagine it would be any different. But other than that, we'll see what happens. Give me 1 second. Moving on to that. Tribute to the troops to take place not in Afghanistan, but at Fort Hood in Texas, and it's rumored to be taped on Christmas Day. CM Punk to miss up to 3 months due to hip surgery that he sustained right after a pay-per-view. Recently, Rey Mysterio has missed several shows due to vertigo, which is not a good thing. Again, pay-per-view buys, just judging from Night of Champions, and we'll get more readings into the other pay-per-views as they come in. But like I said, 169,000 buys when these guys used to dominate pay-per-view is not something I would brag about. Stone Cold, it's rumored that Stone Cold Steve Austin will guest host on Monday Night Raw sometime in December, and we'll see if that makes true. When asked if Linda McMahon would return to WWE, she said she wouldn't, which kind of solidifies my claim that she's not going to want to be associated with this if she plans on running for another office at some point in time. She needs to make her make her appearance look better than it does. And rumor has it that Dixie Carter is no longer trusted in the Carter family. It's rumored that Dixie Carter's mother, wife of Bob Carter, the owner, the actual owner, is now in charge of approving and not approving talent signing. So we'll see if this virtually leads to an end to Dixie Carter having her way and just smiling on TV. But we'll see what happens. This is kind of a short one. I'll be back later to add to it. There's more news bits and rumors. But until next time, visit WrestleTalkShow.webs.com, Facebook.com/CWE Company. Send all your wrestling news to CWECompany@gmail.com. And until next time, this is Joshua Zimmerman saying see you in a few.